everyone, it's Juni, checking back in with all of you. I know I don't have anyone on yet. We'll give it a second for people to come in, if anyone comes in. I might not have anyone come in, I'm just a tiny little channel. I have to correct a quick little mistake that I did make on the synastry chart. That I do need to correct. I have the synastry chart on the thumbnail as well. The synastry chart. So, hey Aggie, it's good to see you. Yeah, I have to correct a quick little mistake that I made on Brooke's channel. Hey Susie Q. Hey Susie Q, I forgot to tell you, I was a guest on Aggie invited me on Brooke's channel, and I was a guest on there. I've only ever been a guest on Ziggy's channel and now Brooke's channel. So yeah, that was great. I really appreciate that, Aggie, and tell Brooks I said thank you, because that was great. Yeah. I was very nervous though. I mean, you guys know I struggle with my anxiety and stuff, so I was really nervous. Because I'm not used to that big of an audience, Like, I looked at the chat, and I looked at her chat, and it said 200 people or something, and I was like, like I could feel my whole chest like tighten, because I'm only used to our little group where we have like 3 people. We have like 3 people in chat, or maybe 4. That's kind of what I'm used to. So yeah, I panicked a little bit on Brooks's channel. I'm not used to seeing that many people, so, but that was fun. I really appreciated it. Anyway, so yeah, where I said that the suspect, this is an astrological suspect that is well known in Michael Vaughn's case. Okay, I'm not gonna like blast his name out. You guys pretty much don't know who it is. Okay. I said he had Chiron in the 5th house because he had a wound to his fertility. So if you, on your natal chart, if you have Chiron in the 5th house, it can mean that you might have difficulties with fertility or getting pregnant. But it's the blue that's the astrological suspect, and he actually has Chiron in the 9th house, which he also has Polis there as well, conjunct it. I don't know why I didn't pull up, because I usually try to pull all the asteroids. But he has Sarah in the 9th house, Adrian, a child, a wound that never heals in the 9th house, and he also has Polis there. And when Polis is in the 9th house, it can really blur your spirituality. This suspect can have kind of blurred issues with religion, I would say. And he may have experienced some type of wound that never heals with his spirituality or with his faith, okay? Because the 9th house is your higher learning. The 9th house is your philosophy and college education, things like that. It's your religion, it's study, it's travel, it's long distance travel. The 3rd house is more so short distance travels and journeys around your inland local neighborhood. But 9th house is like long distance travels. It has to do with your faith. It has to do with the divine God. So there's a wound here that never heals. I actually have Chiron in the 9th house too. I did experience a wound with religion, and it catapulted me into being more active in making peace with my spirituality and gaining confidence with my spiritual path. So for Stacy, he does have a wound that never heals somewhere with his spirituality, and with he does have Polis there. I didn't know. I'm not really sure why it didn't show up, but Polis is in there, and that can be kind of like a delusionment with spirituality as well. So I just wanted to correct that. Hey, Julia, it's good to see you. Thanks everybody for being here. Hey, Gerald. Yes, drugs are bad. So he also is born. Stacy is also. Crap! I just said his name. Okay, whatever. I've been trying to tiptoe around this. So yes, this is Stacy's. Damn it! I said his name. I'm trying to be politically correct here. So Stacy does have a huge opposition between his moon and sun. Now on the crime chart, that can also be someone that struggles with, it could be he struggles with his relationships not being able to be balanced, and struggling with boundaries as well. It means that he is a moon child. Just because he's not a Cancer, when you're born on a full moon, there are certain challenges and certain blessings that a full moon can put upon you, okay? And he does have this, but you see, he's got this huge, I mean, I don't know if you can't see that. That is a huge opposition between, issues with home. Could have been his family roots. He has mentioned in the past that he has fetal alcohol syndrome. So, there could be a wound here from the mother. I'm not really sure. But usually when you're born on a full moon, you can attract a lot of attention. That, you're reflecting this light upon you. And because he has this opposition here, I would say that it probably is, it's not the most positive light for someone. It can be very challenging. Along with Mercury is there, Jupiter is there. So he has this huge opposition between his emotions, his family roots, and his self-identity, his self. And it could be with career, reputation, also with his sun going down to at a trine here. It looks like, where's Venus? So, I mean, he could have, it's in the 3rd house. So he could have issues with communication. Yeah, he could have issues with communication. There could be, he could have difficulty expressing himself as well. Now, what I find alarming about this suspect is how, if you take it against Michael's crime chart, I do have, now again, this suspect is considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I know that we've seen his confession online, and yeah, it's terrible, okay? His confession is absolutely terrible, but I still have to, protect his rights to some degree, okay? And, so, I know that he confessed, and some people are saying that he confessed as a revenge or something like along those lines. The reason why he confessed under duress, he was under pressure, and that, is there definitely horoscope signs of people that killed Michael? Color, car, location, physical characteristics of what he could be found in. Yes, there are some clues to it. I'll try to break some of that down. I kind of already have broken some of that down. About possibly there could have been a female driver, or there could have been a female energy. I do think that there is a female energy connected to this crime with Michael. Gemini is on the DC line, so that means we have more than one person involved. Out of the 2 suspects that are involved, they could be, because Gemini is a considered a masculine sign, but actually it's considered like dual, right? So on Michael's DC line, Gemini is ruling it. So, you know, let's see. This is their confession. This is on November the 12th around 4:50 when he's doing that interview and he's talking and he's doing his confession. You can't tell me that the universe doesn't know what the hell's going on down here. Can you not see this huge arrow like just going into these suspects over here? So that's Sarah, Carr, Michael, and Stacy. Again, just like on the crime chart, we have Mercury in there, Venus, and the sun, okay? And this is months later. This is practically a year, almost a year later, right? November, when are they interrogated? When is he interrogated? This is November the 12th, 2022. Michael Vaughn went missing, July 27th, 2021. So all these months later, the universe is still telling us, look at these suspects. They're still showing up as an open enemy to Michael. The 7th house rules your open enemy. The 8th house can rule death, transformation, and it's also where not the best people to Michael are. It's killers, kidnappers, bad people show up in the 8th house. We want to pay attention to the people that show up in the 8th and 9th house. I want to pay attention to anyone who shows up in the 12th house, even kind of in the 1st house as well, because people who show up in the 1st house can depending on who's ruling the DC and who's showing up in the 1st house, it can mean that they're nearby. So you want to really check the people that are nearby because they might have some type of knowledge or they might be connected to the case as well somehow. Meaning it could have happened on their property, or it could have happened near their house, or they were in the vicinity of where the victim was, because the 1st house rules the victim. It's going to describe what our victim looks like, what our victim was doing, where our victim was at before they went missing, and the polar opposite house is the 7th house. So that tells us the open enemy, and it also is this. You think about the Michelangelo, right? There's 2 fingers, but it's the polar opposite. It's like what attracts a killer or an enemy to our victim, and these energies collide, okay? And the DC line and the 7th house can describe my open enemy to Michael. So on his crime chart, where's his crime chart? So on his crime chart, I have a Brandon that shows up sitting directly on the DC line. Of course, Brandon is given the presumption of innocence always on my channel. I'm not accusing him of doing anything to Michael, but it is odd that, he is showing up there. And this is at a time around 7 p.m. And then, it's telling me that I could have more than 2 people involved, more than one, okay? Because Gemini is the twins, right? He's the, let's see if I can find a picture of Gemini's symbol. It's the twins. It's got the 2, it's got the 2 little things, right? So Gemini is 2 people or more. And it also can tell me that 2 of the suspects are younger than 30. And I have an older male here at a 29th degree sun that is, opposing Pluto, which is not good, okay? That's not the best situation, all right? And, of course, we always want to keep hope alive, that Michael is going to be found alive. I know that law enforcement has stated that they feel very strongly that Michael was buried in the backyard. But, I I am going to read to you his Michael's little fixed star here in the 8th house of death and transformation. You know, either this means that Michael is under some type of pressure, some transformation. Yes, it is the house of death. Yes, that puts him in the vehicle or in front of these suspects. Now, is it a coincidence that I have Stacy in there and that I have Sarah in there all clumped together with so one could be an older male, one could be a female. Someone could be angry because you have Mars there, and Mars also represents a vehicle, and Mars represents a vehicle which is opposite Michael, because Michael is being ruled by Jupiter. Now, sometimes when we see the moon in the first house, you know, we can be hopeful that, you know, they will be found eventually. You know, sometimes when I see the moon, if I'm doing like, I know Michael's not a pet, but sometimes like if somebody's dog or cat goes missing, I'm always hopeful when the moon shows up in the first house, because that can mean that the missing lost item or the missing lost pet is trying to make its way back home to you. So, you know, that does make me feel like that this is a solvable case, that, you know, that we will one day get answers for Michael. You know, hopefully is what I'm hoping. Or it can mean that Michael was trying to head back home when he got abducted. You know, I can't rule out that they may have hit him with a car and then took him. You know, because I do have car, and I have that's showing up as an open enemy to Michael. So, and that he could have been transported as cargo. You know, I can't rule out, because we have Capricorn and Pluto, you know, that can also mean control of someone, an authority trying to control and puts restriction, obsession, restriction, opposite this older male here. Now, out of Kirsty's book, you guys know I'm always talking about her book. And another thing I want to say is I'm always talking about other astrologers. And I even if I always want to talk very positive about other astrologers. And I always want to tell you guys to check them out, because, you know, I'm still learning. I might make a mistake, or, you know, that you could really learn from the people that I watch as well. You know, I have a lot of respect for Kirsty McIntosh. She's, you know, she's an amazing astrologer who's very knowledgeable. I tell you about Val Evans, and I tell you about Missy, and I tell you about Jen from Astrology for Mystics. I tell you about all the criminal astrologers that I try to absorb, and I might not see eye to eye with them. Even other YouTube creators that I don't see eye to eye with, I'm still going to be open and tell you guys, you know, they have a different opinion than me. Maybe they're looking at the astrology, they see something that I don't. And that's okay. Even if I don't agree with another astrologer, just remember that that I, you know, I still have a lot of respect for them, and that even if we don't see eye to eye on a case, or, you know, I've worked with some psychics in the past, and you know, so far I've had one bad experience, but some good experience, but I don't hold any grudges. I'm totally, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion about Michael's case, Summer's case, all these cases that we do. And I'm always going to speak positively about these other creators, even if they don't agree with my theory or the way that I'm reading the charts, and even if they don't like me, I'm still gonna talk positive about them. You know, because I think that we should be really absorbing from all of these channels out here on YouTube. So I think we have a lot, we could learn a lot from everybody, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, you might watch another astrologer that I recommend all the time, and they might look at the charts completely different than me. They might read the charts completely different than me. And that's okay, okay? Because people pick up energies and feel things. I look at some of these things and I get downloads all the time, guys. And I really can't explain that, what's happening when I look at some of the astrology. I might see something, I might feel something, you know, my lights might flicker, I might start to cough, my chest might feel tight. You know, there are things that happen that I can't explain on a phenomenal level that I don't have an explanation for. You know, so the other astrologer that's reading the same exact chart might not get those downloads. Not that that makes me a better astrologer. I'm just saying there are certain things that I feel, I see, and I'm going to speak on it, but I'm also going to say, hey, I could also be wrong, right? My gut tells me this. I'm looking at the planet like this. It makes me feel like this, how I'm looking at it, right? And researching it in all of my books. I will double check just to make sure. You know, but sometimes I see shit on the chart and I just blurt it out. And sometimes it comes to fruition. And it comes true. So, you know, I have to go with my gut instincts sometimes, even if other astrologers don't agree with me or, you know, think that I don't know what I'm doing. So I want to read to you Michael's star here, his fixed star. So he's at his 6 degrees. Let's make sure down here. It's so small. So Michael is at 6 degrees in Leo. Right here. That's Michael's asteroid that I've been using for him. I think the last name is Vincent, but Michael V. So it shows up as Michael V on the asteroid data bank. So if I go to 6 degrees Leo, and, you know, Sarah is conjunct him. Sarah is 7 degrees, and Michael is 6 degrees. They are very close orbs, guys. In the 8th house of death and transformation. And Stacy is at a 17th degree. So he's still conjunct. He's at I'd say a soft conjunction. But we're really supposed to pay attention to any orbs, okay, that are 1 degree apart. So Sarah is at 7 degrees and Michael is at 6 degrees. Again, this is just astrology. I'm not accusing Sarah, okay? I'm just telling you where the hell she's at and what she looks like and why I really am honed in on her, because she's at a 1 degree separation orb from Michael's asteroid. I hope that makes sense, why an astrologer would really tune into these orbs here. Okay, so 6 degrees and 7 degrees in Leo. And here is Kirsty McIntosh's book, the book I'm always telling you guys to check out and get, you know, Understanding the Crime Chart. So, okay. All right, hopefully you guys don't fall. Hopefully you don't fall, because I'm like sitting up here in my blanket because it's really cold. It snowed here today. I just want to know if should be looking for a Gemini. Well, really, we probably should be looking for, it would be the polar opposite of Gemini. The Gemini is just describing that we have more than one person involved on the DC. Sometimes, now not always, okay? So don't, sometimes, like when Kirsty McIntosh broke down, whose chart did she do that? Rex Huberman guy? And all those victims all had the same, surrounded the same AC line. I think it was Pisces. I think he's a Pisces. I'm not 100% sure. But, you know, it'll match. Sometimes the open enemy to our victim, you'll find their astrological sign in here. Sometimes, not always. Or, yeah, you could be looking at a Gemini or someone who has either... I mean, because we really don't know what time Michael was kidnapped. So, I mean, we could be looking at, you know, someone that might have Sagittarius on their AC line, someone that might have Capricorn as a sun sign or an AC line, maybe someone that might have Scorpio on their AC or sun sign. So, yeah, sometimes it does match up, or sometimes it's over here as well. But most of the time, it's on this side. I hope that answers your question. Yes, it's snowing. It's really cold. I'm making a pot roast. So I might have to run down and check on it if that's okay. I took a can of mushrooms out, and I really don't know when I should add them. I'll set a timer for like 20 minutes, and then I'll run down and I just have like a can of like sliced mushrooms I was gonna pour over the pot roast. Uh, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's look up Leo, Michael's fixed star. So I would say, between 5 degrees, 6 degrees, 7 degrees, these stars would all rule Michael. Right? So, nebulous cluster in the first decan of Leo. Basically, it's associated the death by fever, fire, hanging, beheading, or a violent catastrophe, ruin, disgrace, wounds, hurt to face, eye trouble, blindness, imprisonment, great changes in society. So, these are the stars that are floating above Sarah, Stacy, and Michael. The sun sign as well. So, we have inner drive, reclusive, blindness, murder, tragedy, fires. It's unfortunate. So, these are the fixed stars that are ruling this area here. Okay, it's really not good. And, on a spiritual level, I have had spirit box sessions over and over again say that he had an injury to his eye. Now, I don't, that's just a spirit box. I can't say that that's true or not. I'm just, you got to keep a spirit box separate from astrology. But it is interesting that the fixed stars, that are here is kind of backing up what some of the spirit boxes have also said. And like I said, it is suspicious to me that this suspect, that their Saturn is matching up, that their moon is matching up, and most importantly, Algol, the demon star, the most evil demon star in the entire solar system, is Algol. He can rule conspiracy, confusion, conflict, rage, beheading, injuries to the neck, and, someone under the influence, and someone losing their head in public, and it having a catastrophic outcome. And it's very, it's the fact that these two are lining up, I do find it suspicious. Again, not accusing them, okay? I know, Michael, this is very sad, and I know that Stacy confessed, and now he's taking back his confession, because he says he was under duress, and he has fetal alcohol syndrome, and all this other stuff. I don't know. What are you guys feeling about it? I mean, Sarah is a Pisces. Is she? Interesting. Do you know her birthday, Julia? Because I have her birthday written down in a book somewhere, and I cannot find it. I've paged through like 22 books, looking through each page where I wrote it down. I can't remember where I wrote it down. We always want to keep hope alive for Michael. I know that fixed star sounds very grim. The fact that he's showing up, that his asteroid is showing up in the 8th house of death, it seems very grim. And Michael is being ruled by Jupiter. Let me see what that fixed star says, actually. On the crime chart. So he's at a 0 degree in Aquarius. Let's see what, maybe this fixed star, because Jupiter can be, he's 50-50. when a suspect shows up in Sagittarius or Jupiter, it's 50-50, you know, like either that suspect gets the brunt of it, like if there was multiple suspects and the one suspect that shows up as Jupiter on the chart, they are usually the one that gets rescued, are they the one that gets it the most, right? So they either get the most abuse or they are the luckiest out of the bunch, because Jupiter is a very lucky sign, and it brings truth and justice. So hopefully, you know, the fact that Michael is showing up in Jupiter brings truth and justice. So let's just look up 0 degrees of Aquarius and read what that fixed star is. So it's fame. So Michael became famous with this fixed star. I'll show you. Fame, powerful mind, the plundering falcon, imagination, strong passions, will. And that can be, you know, him going out on his own where he was trying to explore, right? I mean, because he did go out on his own. So, what's the name of that fixed star? I'd like to give that fixed star to Brandy, if I could. To give her hope, right? Some hope. So the name of the star is called one second. Tarazed, Tarazed. See if we can see what it looks like. It's the falcon. So that's what it looks like. And I'd like to send that to Brandy to kind of give her some hope. You know, when she looks up at the star, this is the star that was ruling Michael when he went missing. This is the star that was with Jupiter. So, give her some hope that we'll get answers, and that this star is probably watching over him still. Right? So it is visible to the naked eye. She can see it when she looks up at the night sky. It's in the constellation of Aquila, in the northern hemisphere, so she'll be able to see that. Yeah, so we'll give Brandy that is the star that was ruling him when he went missing. And hopefully that brings her some peace, that when she looks up at the stars, that star was over top of Michael's head when he went missing. So I listed some of the pedophiles, the RSOs that are nearby. And this is 3 maps. Now, so it looks a little crazy, okay? This is like a Frankenstein map. But just bear with me, because I'll make it make sense. I know it doesn't look like I know this doesn't look like some of my normal 911 charts. That is because this is a very complicated case, and there's multiple time frames. So we have the day that, you know, Sarah gets arrested, and then we have the day that, you know, so the green is Sarah getting arrested and saying that Michael, you know, God told her that Michael did it, or that Stacy did it, the neighbor did it, you know, everybody else did it but her, and that, you know, Michael was buried in the backyard. That's the green lines, okay? The pink lines are Stacy's confession. The blue lines are the day that little Michael Vaughn went missing, okay? What's interesting to me is that the mile markers, so if you look, here's the 911 call mile marker right there, right? I don't know if can you guys see. Here's the 911 mile marker, and it takes me right near the Carsons, the neighbors. It takes me, near her parents' house, and it takes me right near the Wanderer's house. And this is when Michael went missing. This mile marker is telling us that either the victim or the suspects are going to be found around this line. This mile marker is telling us a distance of 1.6, I believe. It's either 1.6 or 1.7. That, pay attention to this mile marker, okay? And then it's interesting that during Stacy's confession, his pink line of his confession takes me right near the place where Michael was playing their house, and where Michael was, his last eyewitness account. Now, also, I find it could be a coincidence, okay? This is just astrology. I'm not accusing them of doing anything, but, Stacy went up in there and he did confess to all this stuff. So I feel like I have the right to pick them apart, okay? He confessed to this stuff, and then he took it back. But regardless, he still said what he said, and I feel like I have the right to look at what their arrest dates and confession, the things that they have said. I feel like I have the right to do an astrological search on that. Okay, now I don't know where they pulled over. Okay, I'm not sure where. Remember, the green lines are Sarah's confession, the pink lines are Stacy's confession. Now I don't know where they changed the fluid in their vehicle. But look at that. I mean, if they said they were on the corner of Arizona, here's where Michael, was last kind of reported, last seen, right in this area here. And look, I mean, if they pulled over, they said there was like a little area here. If they pulled over here, I still have lines going right through that, right? Let's say they pulled over down here, right here. If they pulled over here, I still have Sarah's line going through it. I still have Stacy's line going through it. And I have the AC line. I have the line of Jupiter, which is ruling Michael, going right through the area where they could have pulled over. Now, I don't know if this is where he pulled over or not, guys. Do you guys know exactly where he pulled over? Brandon is June 1992. Okay. He's a Cancer. Interesting. Because I have Cancer as an open enemy on the crime chart in the 7th house. I mean, Gemini is ruling the DC, so I know there's more than one person involved, but in the 7th, we do have Cancer. I mean, it's not a guarantee. It's just let's just say that's just an observation. Sometimes it adds up, sometimes it doesn't. But it is interesting when it does. Like I said, when Kirsty broke down Rex Huberman, you guys should really check out that video that she did, because all the AC lines matched up to, I believe, Pisces or something. I believe he was a Pisces. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure it was a Pisces. I just remember there was a synchronicity of all of them having the same, all the victims had the same, like close to the same AC line. So, is that a coincidence? It could be a coincidence, but there's a lot of little coincidences in astrology. And when you keep having these little synchronicities popping up over and over again, I think that we should pay attention to it. That's all. Again, not accusing anyone. I'm just saying that we should really pay attention to it. So again, this is the line of Jupiter, and this is the line of Jupiter between, this is 640, and this is 720, I believe. So these two lines, I just wanted to see where they would end up, and between the time frames of 6:40 and 7:20, okay, the prime times that Michael is supposedly missing. And I wanted to see, do they still take me to the Wanderer's backyard? Yes, they do. A lot of the lines are taking me back there, okay? Does that mean that they're guilty? Of course not. Even the pink line goes right through, right near the front of the house of Sarah's parents' house. So, and I have, with Stacy's confession, I have 2 lines going through the Carsons, who are registered sex offenders, okay? And Stacy mentions his name a lot. Like, I talked to Carson, I did this with Carson, or Carson told me this. Carson mentioned a tricycle. Carson said this. They're pedophiles, okay? Him and his wife, both, are registered as sex offenders, okay? And they're not looking friendly, guys. I mean, they look kind of scary to me. I mean, let's see. Now, I have a couple of these addresses that I pulled up here. These are registered sex offenders that live... There's Carson. Does he look like a neighbor that you want and your child is missing? I mean, I'm just saying, like, of course he's considered innocent until proven guilty, but, I do have lines going through his house and in the front of his house as well with Stacy's confession. So I do find that interesting. Now, I know this looks like a hot mess, but believe me, it'll make sense. So I have 2 locations that I mapped out of, right? So the 911 blue chart is Michael's 911 call and when he goes missing. So let's just kind of look. I've already kind of shown you places with the blue lines. Let's kind of look to see if the blue, pink, and green, and some of the red, and so I have some lighter blues and blues because they're like a half hour apart. Because I'm checking the sun and the moon, Mercury, they move really fast. So sometimes I'll just add like a lighter color just to see, like you can see here, like my blues are a little lighter color. It's just me checking to see how much that planet moved within that half hour time frame or within an hour time frame. Because again, we don't have concrete time of when Michael actually went missing. So that's why I do it like that. Okay, so from the Wanderer's house, right, if I'm looking at them making these confessions, Sarah making her confession, Stacy making his confession, do these lines match up? And they do. Like here, look at this. I have all the lines coming here. So whether or not they're telling the truth or not, the astrology has it all connected here, okay? I'm not really sure what that means. But it is some type of energy that I think we should pay attention to because these lines are months, practically a year apart, right? I mean, months and months apart. And the astrology is still clumping them together like this. So this area here, this area in here, this area here on this pond. And I know that they've searched this pond, but, specifically here, specifically there. If there's any cell phone pings or of any knowledge of any of these suspects in this area, any phone pings or anything like that, I would definitely check it. Again, I have them all clumping together over here as well. They're very close together, and that to me is a little suspicious. Okay, not saying that they're guilty. I'm just saying it's a little suspicious. Here as well, the areas of this pond here. I'm not sure if this is a bridge. Yeah, this is a bridge. So, checking this area within here, absolutely. Let's see if I can get you guys as close as possible. Can you see better? I hope you can see better. Okay. This area in here as well. And this is Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, all the big guys that kind of represent. It can represent death. It can represent transformation. It can represent physical DNA, and Michael's planet, right? The planet that was ruling him. So, yeah, I would pay attention to this area here in the pond, on the corners here, on the you know, the areas here, just on the edges. And it goes all the way out. Let's see if I can take it to this mile marker here. So this area in here. And all the way out. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of their house. All right, so the other areas that I'm curious about is, I do have a lot of energy going out here on the moon and the AC line as well. Through here. I'm not sure if this is another bridge, but the highway, crossing over the highway. This area in here. I'm very curious about. Okay, and then let's go to where the cluster of all the pedos live. I've only entered a couple of them, but I find it freaking crazy that they're all on the same lines. All the pedophiles that are near Michael are in this cluster here. So does that tell you something about astrology? Like, what the hell? They're all kind of clustered in this area here on the line of Uranus, shocking, the planet of shock, right? Also it's also on the line of Child, the asteroid Child that I used. It's showing up on that line as well too. So I have a bunch of pedophiles showing up near the asteroid of Child, which I find very weird. Could be a coincidence again. I don't know. It is weird that they're on the line of an asteroid that rules children and Uranus. So I mapped out a couple of splash pads. I'm not sure if this is a splash pad that he went to. This is an RSO. His name is Michael and Ramirez. And I'm just curious about him. Well, one, because he's mapping out on the line, right? He's right here. And I do have a Ramirez that shows up as secret enemy. I do have another registered sex offender here. I'm trying not to blow them up because, of course, they have rights too, even though they're registered sex offenders. They do have some rights, but, this is a missing child, and all registered sex offenders should be considered suspects. So I am curious about this guy here, this guy here. You guys doing okay? Hey, The Real Gemini, how you feeling, honey? You feeling any better? Which one do you think started talking to the police today to give a tip after those videos were released? Well, I thought Dolly has jail call from Sarah. Okay. Okay, thanks, Julia. Just send them to me. I'll add them later. Thank you, Julia. Oh, you are feeling better? Okay, good. Good. Okay, so let's just keep looking at these registered sex offenders because they kind of freak me out where they're showing up on the lines. of the map. So this is another one named David. He's near a line here. This RSO I'm curious about because his name has Adrian in it. And I have Adrian showing up in the first house. I have Adrian showing up in the seventh house. I have Adrian showing up next to a lie. I have Adrian showing up also in the 12th house. So I entered pretty much so all the asteroids that had the name Adrian in it, right? So this registered sex offender does have the name Adrian in it. And, you know, I'm just suspicious of it because, well, because it was active. It was an asteroid that was active on spots in Michael's chart that, you know, make me nervous. And, you know, in houses that make me nervous. And it's on the line of Child and Uranus. So, yeah, I'm curious about this guy. I really hope law enforcement has checked him out. Check this guy out. This guy here, his name is Stacy. He has Stacy in his name. So because I use Stacy as a suspect, you know, this guy here, and he's next to a line. So I am suspicious about him as well, okay? Now, I don't know if the Wanderers know these people, or excuse me, or if anyone in the house knows any of these people. If they do, you know, then I would definitely check them out. If Carson knows any of these pedophiles, okay, Stacy is active in the 8th house of death on the chart, and rules as basically an enemy to Michael. And this is a registered sex offender that's showing up on the line of Sarah's confession line. So, you know, her arrest date. So I am suspicious about this pedophile. Okay. And I just want to cover all my bases. All right. Because you just never know. I mean, maybe Sarah, Brandon, and Adrian and Stacy, they may never crack. They may be, you know, if they're innocent, we might never know. And if they are involved and they involved other people, well, these might be some types of the other type of people that Carson may have known, Stacy may have known, Brandon may have known, Adrian may have known. I mean, somebody was decaying in that backyard, right? Someone, human remains were decomposing in the backyard because multiple dogs hit on it. I'm sure that law enforcement would have had an entomologist there. I'm sure they would have done the vapor testing. I'm sure they would have done all the testing to make sure that, you know, that it's human, because there is a colony of bugs that really love to live on human decomposition compared to animal decomposition. Yes, it's the same bugs, but you're looking for the amount of infestation and the bugs that live inside the body and the bugs that leave. And if a body was moved, you can tell that a body was moved because there's an infestation and then it decreases, right? There's a large amount of activity, and then when the body is moved, it dwindles away, and they can see the cycles of that and time that. If that was a dead animal in the backyard, who's going to dig up a dead animal and move that, right? So either someone was in the backyard decomposing, right? And you think about Adrian was the one that was asking Sarah to, you know, lure unsuspected men into a hotel room, say that she was going to have sex with them, then they were going to beat them up, and then they were going to, you know, allegedly beat them up and allegedly steal and rob from them. Well, I mean, maybe they did it. Who knows at this point? I mean, they're lying. If Stacy's lying, or if he is, there's obviously lies. Because I'll tell you exactly why I think that there's a lot of lies with Michael's case. Let me see. there's this Neptune energy in the 4th house at the end of the matter. To me, this is at the end of the matter. We have lies. There's deceit. There's lies. Someone is lying. Okay. There's a lot of lies. An older male is lying. Possibly a female is lying. Because I have a square to the moon. And I have a trine to the sun. And, you know, if Stacy was pissed off that Sarah was cheating, you know, now this is all alleged. This is me just speaking hypothetically. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying that this is fact, okay? Do not switch my words up. But if he confessed, if Stacy confessed because he was pissed off because Sarah was cheating on him, and he blamed it on Sarah and Brandon and everybody in the beginning, and later he's now changing his story and now he's blaming it on Adrian, but earlier he was blaming it all on Sarah, right? During that confession, he blamed Sarah. And, you know, well, because he said she was cheating on him, but he said that he was going to allow one of the roommates to impregnate his wife and have sex with her. So to get her pregnant because she wanted a baby. So is that cheating? If you ask someone to sleep with your wife, you know, it's not just one and done, guys. Like, if you're trying to get pregnant, you know, you usually have to have sex a few times to get pregnant. It's usually not one and done. So if Stacy was allowing her to possibly get pregnant by one of the roommates, why is he confessing because he's pissed off that she's cheating? Obviously, he knew, you know, obviously he was okay with the cheating to some degree because he was going to allow someone to impregnate his wife. And I'm sorry, but it's not just one and done. It's not like, oh yeah, have sex with my wife this one time and she'll get pregnant. No, if you are going to agree to that, you're going to agree to someone having sex with your wife multiple times to get pregnant, right? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying, guys? Does that make sense? I mean, and I'm not, this is just stuff that they have talked about. I don't know if this is true or not, but this is the stuff that has been circulating this case, that, you know, he couldn't get her pregnant, so he was going to let someone else get her pregnant. So the confession, a revenge confession, doesn't make sense to me if you've already been okay with allowing someone to possibly have sex with your wife to get her pregnant, and they would have had to have sex multiple times to get her pregnant. That's just the kind of shit that keeps me up at night, that, you know, I try to wrap my head around. You know, if it was a forced confession and he was angry and wanted revenge because his wife was cheating on him, it doesn't make sense. And how many people, regardless if you have alcohol fetal syndrome or not, thousands and thousands of people have this disorder, but they're not confessing to the fact that they watched someone bury a child in their backyard. And the logic behind confessing to doing something like that, because you're angry at your wife, so you want to blame it all on her and get her in trouble, so it's a revenge confession, that just doesn't make sense to me. You know, and if you read about fetal alcohol syndrome with crime, it makes me a little bit more suspicious of Stacy, because they can have really anger issues, and they can have explosive personality. They can also be a sexual deviant. So, you know, and he does have, no, Stacy's, you know, astrology isn't all evil. He has some really good, he has some really very positive aspects in his astrology chart. But if I'm looking at him as a suspect, he does have some sexual issues that are a little weird. Now, I'm not saying that he's a pervert. I'm just saying that there's some things on his chart that look a little weird. I probably have some too, you know, but he definitely has issues with his marriage on his astrology. Okay, and boundaries with religion, and boundaries with his marriage, and that boundaries could be crossed, and if he's not careful, and if he doesn't keep his spirituality in check, I mean, he could really get lost in it, right? So that shows up on his astrology. I'm not going to totally rip the guy apart, okay, but I'm saying, you know, because he does have some good things, but he also has some things that, yeah, I mean, could be with revolving around a missing child that, you know, is alarming. Yes, I would say that as well. But, you know, it's just astrology. It doesn't mean that it's fact, okay? So here's another area that I'm interested in, this little off-ramp of this highway, because, again, it's got my 911 call, and of when the day Michael was missing, and then it's, you know, Stacy's confession and basically Sarah's confession. So this little bridge area in here, I am very curious about as well. Again, Aquarius, Jupiter can rule high bridges, high cliffs. Aquarius can rule beautiful areas that are scenic, moving waterways. If you think about the symbol of Aquarius, it's you know, it's movement, and it rules the ankles, and it rules, you know, the front, the shins, the way that your body moves. And it's, you know, the little wiggly lines. So that's movement. So if you think about the river, and Pisces can also be fresh waterways. So, you know, and then he's being ruled by Jupiter. You have Aquarius there that it could be bridges. It could be like a railroad that's near a bridge, or a railroad bridge, or a cliff area, hills, something like that, uneven ground, wells, sewer runoffs, ditches. That's all kind of Aquarius energy, right? So here's another registered sex offender. Let's see if I have any registered sex offenders on the mile markers. Now, this is the area that's, see, this is another thing that I find very suspicious. If they were not involved, right, then why is the astrology tracking them? So, you know, I'm very suspicious of their activity and how the astrology is tracking them. So, you know, this is his taxi run. I had him down at the other A&W, but I think this is the A&W that he went to the day that he went on his taxi ride in Payette. So this is his taxi run, and here is right where he goes, and, you know, well, it's on the line of Neptune, and, you know, I'm curious if there was prescription, were they doing anything funky with their prescription drugs, because it's on the line of Neptune, and Neptune does rule prescription drugs, okay? Not that I'm accusing him of doing stuff weird with his taxi and possibly with medication, but he does say that he goes to the pharmacy here, and it's on my line of Neptune. It's also ruling the enemy. So I have the DC line for an open enemy, and then I also have, you know, this is Sarah, this is Stacy's confessions and arrest dates, basically, and it's mapping out where they were at. There's the pharmacy that he went to. Here's the park that he was at. He went to this A&W here and got food. I don't know what he got to eat here, or if he just dropped off his taxi run, right? So, yeah. I didn't map Tanner. I didn't do his asteroid. I have to look in the data bank for Tanner. But I will. I'll look to see if I have him. So again, this is a mile marker on this river here. And this is the 911 call. So, you know, this area in here, because it maps out to Sarah's confession and Michael's 911 call. Okay? So we should pay attention to it. And see if there's any clues or evidence that connects to the case. Would be in something in this area as well. So it is interesting that it's mapping all this out. And with the Neptune, he did say that he went and got prescription drugs. So that might be the Neptune. But Neptune crime can be very shady, that there's something shady going on with him getting that prescription allegedly. Of course, allegedly. Okay. The other areas that I'm curious about are this landfill that in the asteroid car that shows up out here. And so I have Sarah's confession And I also have the asteroid Child come out here, and I also have, the 911 call within, 6:40 to 7:30. So this landfill, I am curious about. Maybe this area in here, or this Payette River here. There's also this weird landmark here off of the road Car. Looks like Pac-Man. But again, this is, I got the DC line out here. So, I mean, we could have the killer, our open enemy to Michael, may have been in this area with his car. Because Mars rules a vehicle. Or with a weapon. Mars can rule a weapon. So, I mean, someone could have discarded a weapon out here. Someone could have discarded some evidence connected to the car, because Mars rules a vehicle. Mars rules accidents and things like that, right? So I am curious if anything was put in this peak landfill, in front of this landfill, in this river here. I'm curious about that. Also curious about, this Pac-Man looking thing, because it's, it can be that the open enemy to Michael was in this area at some point during the crime. Or has something to do with the crime. So when we go down to Kuna, let's go down to Kuna. So here's Brandon's mom's house in this area here. The asteroid Stacy goes right next to it. And Michael, see, Michael was 6 degrees of Leo. So that is 90 plus 30. Hold on, let me do the math. Let's map out Michael while I have you guys here with me. So let's do the math for Michael. It's 90 plus 30. 0, 9, 10, 11, 12. 120 plus 6. 126. Okay, so let's see where 126 takes me. Because that's Michael's asteroid. You guys doing okay? Sorry, because when I'm doing this, I can't really. Oh, okay. Was he in the grill? Yeah, I'm not sure. When Tanner tried to move the grill was when Sarah beat him with the dog bone and pulled a gun out on Tanner. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, in that chart, looking at the arrest chart of Sarah, she was delusional. And I do find it suspicious that Michael shows up on the AC line on Sarah and Tanner's fight. So the victim is still present during Tanner and Sarah's fight. He's smack dab on the AC line. I find that very interesting. And it's got Sarah and Stacy in the 12th house of some type of secret, right? Let's see. This is that's the confession. This is the crime chart. This is his confession. But see, even when they're confessing, I still have Michael showing up with them. Michael is with their asteroids. I have Sarah, I have Carr, I have Michael, and I have Stacy. Now, like I said, it could be the other Stacy pedophile, but this is his confession. And look at the planets just pointing to them. This is all this energy pointing to these 4 suspects. You even look at the lines. It's telling you there's multiple people here, multiple suspects. Do you see how the lines are separated? You can even count them. That's crazy how the universe does that. I have to say that's from God. Because how else would God know that these suspects, he's pointing to the suspects. This is how he's telling us what's happening down here. Shocking event about digging someone up in someone's garden. There's Taurus. Shocking, and it's going to affect their destiny forever at the 12th degree, which again is that Neptune energy. So there's fog, there's lying, there's deceit. You know, there could be drugs, alcohol, something, some type of addiction issues. So yeah, but on Sarah's chart, you know, I still have Michael showing up right smack dab on the DC line. You can't make that stuff up. Now, of course, that could be just a coincidence. I have to tell you, this is just astrology. Doesn't mean that it's fact. It's just an observation that the astrology is mapping out Michael. The day that she attacks Tanner, Michael is smack dab on the AC line, and Stacy and Sarah are there too, as in the 12th house. So, which the 12th house is the Neptune degree. It's 12th house energy. So it could be just a coincidence. I don't know, but I'm just telling you that Michael shows up before. Michael is there on the AC before any of us connected them to this, right? I mean, like, before that fight. So I do find that very suspicious. Okay, so let's map out the 6. Where is they at? I wrote it down and I forgot already. Let me do the math one more time. Where did I write it down at? Dang it. Okay, so 90 plus 30, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus 30. Wait. 126. 126. Okay, so Michael is at 126 degrees. So let's map him out. Okay, 126. Follow it all the way down to Kuna, because that's the direction that it's headed. And this is the asteroid that's ruling Michael. So Jupiter's ruling Michael, the moon is ruling Michael. You know, we can look for clues for Michael with the moon. We can look for clues with Michael with Jupiter, including his asteroid, including Saturn. Saturn can be a second indication of, it can describe a location of where our victim could be at, the type of area that they could be found in. 126. You know, and if Stacy did make this fake confession, it still doesn't explain away the fact that we have someone decomposing in the backyard. Regardless if we found skeletons or not, someone is decomposing in the backyard, whether or not it's a fake confession or not. Law enforcement found other things in the house. You know, Huff has said there's plenty of circumstantial evidence, but, you know, there's just this, there's a loophole. And, you know, God forbid the people who did do this, if they get away with it, you know, I'm sorry, but if they did do it and they get away with it, then, you know, unfortunately, you know, you're going to have people like O.J. Simpson who, you know, everyone knows O.J. Simpson did it, but he was walking around at the damn mall. You could see O.J. Simpson at freaking Starbucks getting a coffee, but everybody knows he did what he did, right? And, you know, the court of public opinion will always be on Sarah, Brandon, Adrian, and Stacy, until we can figure out exactly what happened to Michael. Thanks, Susie Q. Sorry, it just takes me a long time. I know I'm very slow when I do this. Well, plus I have my phone sitting on the mouse pad. It's not helping. Okay, 126, 126. Here's Stacy's. And Michael and Sarah are all right next to each other. That's crazy. It just makes me so sad. So that's Michael's asteroid. Hold on. Whoops. Let me delete this weird thing. I don't know why this does that sometimes, but it's because I have everything sitting here. The pot roast is probably done.
That's a good nap.
I know. You've been a sleepy bug. It's been snowing out. You've been sleepy. I'm live.
So
Uh-huh. Oh. My daughter has been dealing with, hey, Mean Jeans, been dealing with TikTok being shut down all day today. And she did this, she went on this other site called Red Note or something. Oh my God, we laughed so hard today watching Red Note's, like, I think it's like Mandarin, or I think it's a Chinese you know, site. But basically all the Americans are going on this other app, and they're kind of like, what the hell's going on? Why is everybody coming over here speaking English? And my daughter's going to try to speak Mandarin just so she can work the app because she's so devastated about TikTok. She's like, what the heck? We got fires. Now I don't have TikTok. She's like, things are terrible, Mom. I was laughing so hard today. I'm like, we'll survive. I don't know. I might really struggle with not having CapCut. All right, so here is basically the Brandon's house. Now I had two addresses show up for Terry, his mom. So I just wanted to put both of them here. I'm not really sure which house they were at, but you know, they're in this little pie section. I find that interesting. And that we also have Stacy, Michael, and Sarah, asteroids all going down in this direction. Again, it could be a coincidence. It's just strange, right? Also, car is going right through Kuna, which can mean a weapon, a vehicle. So, yeah. I do find that suspicious as well. So Michael is here. The sun is here. Yeah. Very suspicious. So I'm not sure if law enforcement has ever checked the edge of this lake here, the corner here. I would be interested in that. And this river here, if they could check this area here, or in this area there, this area here. On the corners of it, you know, like right where the water is on the edge. Here's a little city named Adrian I was curious about as well over here in this area, because Adrian does map out on the map. If I follow my MC line, it does point right to this area as well. So again, you know, could be, sometimes it's just the way the astrology talks to us. So if there's anything connected with anyone in that area, I'd be curious about. But like I said, I have an Adrian as a pedophile, and I have a Stacy as a pedophile. And, you know, I'm mapping out Adrian and Stacy. And so, you know, I am curious about these guys, some of these pedophiles in these areas. So I really hope law enforcement double checks with them, you know, keeping a close eye on these pedophiles, because you just never know. They could be directly involved, and maybe through Carson, maybe through one of the roommates might have a connection to one of these pedophiles. And, you know, I'm just saying, it's maybe Sarah, Michael, maybe Sarah, Stacy, Brandon, and Adrian, maybe they'll never confess to doing something to Michael, but maybe you could get one of these other people to confess, and it might just be the thing that opens up the whole thing. The pot roast is done, honey. Can you take it out? It's done. So, I mean, it could be, you know, it could be the missing link that we need to bring Michael home. Is if they put pressure on someone else that might indirectly be involved or directly be involved, and it cracks it open, because there's two of them that are really going to align. So this is what I have so far for Michael, and then I'm going to start working on the Skeleton Brothers again. So just kind of take the map in so you can kind of see where a lot of the energy is flowing, right? Is areas that law enforcement should really search. Oops, hold on, you guys are... Oops, sorry, guys, you got stuck. They are both crazy, makes it difficult. Yeah, they did check Brandon's family's cemetery. Oh, wow. You thought her name was Tina. So, yeah, I mean, the area that we have a lot of the lines going to, I mean, I would definitely, you know, hopefully search, you know, and the areas that I pointed out that are weird, possibly for something to do with a car or a weapon. Maybe something from the vehicle was hid in this area here. If he was transported in a car, maybe somebody had to get rid of some evidence from that car, or maybe they had to get rid of a weapon. So that's why, you know, it's important to follow the Mars line. You know, the Pluto, Saturn, and his planet all being together over here. These are areas that I am still interested in. The AC line and the moon is going out this way, and that rules a victim too. So I pointed out those areas as well. They should be double checked. They should be searched at different seasons, because you just never know. You just never know. You know, that something could show up. You know, I do feel like he is contained in something. On an astrological level, I feel like he could possibly be contained. But also on a spirit box, they said something about a box being welded shut. Now, that's alleged. I don't know if that's true or not, but they mentioned something about a box being welded shut. So I don't know if any of these suspects have access to a welding machine or know someone that might have a welding machine. That did come up in a spirit box. And, you know, there's times that I look at the transits and I think that either he's being contained, he's being held somewhere, or that he was put in something that made him contained near water or in water, in areas that rule Pisces and Aquarius. So let's just look to see what direction Saturn is ruling for Michael's crime chart when he goes missing. What direction? Saturn is in the second house at 11 degrees. So, second house, Aquarius. So in Kirsty's book, she tells us to look. Saturn is in a succeedant house. Shows the missing item to be some way off, but not too far. It could also indicate that it's to the right in the 2nd, 5th, and 8th and 11th houses. So, and you're fine, Daisy. Stay still, honey. She explains Aquarius to be, hilly. I'm right here. Hilly, uneven places, quarries, mines, high places, the attic, the roof, and upper part of all rooms if it was inside of a house. But then, if it's outside, we're looking at areas that are scenic, fresh running water, railroad tracks, railroad bridges, because Jupiter in Aquarius is kind of playing a role here. In Pisces, I would say bridges, cliffs, hills. I don't know, does Idaho have mountains? I'm not sure. All right, let's look to see what direction Saturn is in. I can't find it. Hold on a second. I should have this page memorized. Okay. All right. So his Saturn, which rules DNA, skin, hair, teeth, nails. Okay. Sorry, my fingernails look like crap. Plus, I was working in the kitchen. Okay, so he could be northeast in the west direction. So, because Aquarius wasn't, Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So, if you notice, like, they don't have the planets, the older planets, like, Neptune's not here. Neither is Uranus or Pluto. They're not going to be listed because we deal with the ancient planets of astrology. So even though it says Aquarius, you think I should be looking for Uranus. It's not. I should be looking at Saturn. So it would be north, northeast, west direction. So I would say north, east, west directions for Michael. And that takes me, sorry, I'm sitting on my bed. I swear to God, I'm not farting. It's just my bed making noises. So if Saturn is more so in this direction here, this direction, up in here, this area here, so these areas in here, I am very interested in. Okay, so that's what I have for now. I hope this wasn't too long. I know it's a lot of information. And then I'm going to start working on the Skeleton Brothers. And if stuff comes up about Michael, we'll keep looking at his charts. We'll look at his charts all the time, okay? I'll never stop working on Michael. I'll never stop working on Summer. I'm never going to stop working on Sebastian. I have all of their charts. They're active to me. You know, I won't give up. I'll keep looking, looking at their charts to see what's going on with them. That's all I can do. I'm not ever going to stop looking for them. So, all right, guys. This is what I have now. I'm going to go finish up our dinner. I forgot to add the mushrooms. I knew I was going to forget the mushrooms. Dang it. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for all being here. Please, do all that stuff. Like and subscribe. I know I forget to say all that kind of stuff. So, it'd be great if you could give me a subscription and a like. Share this with people who are searchers, people who are in the area. That would be great, to try to help look and search for Michael in some of these locations. Because the planets are talking to us. They really are. We just have to learn to listen. Okay, love you all. Blessed be, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.